Alright folks, we got a special gift from Abigail and Paul. Man, thank you guys so much. It looks like we got some ribs here. This is all from Buffalo Wild Wings. I sent the actual sack up because I shared some of this with my sister-in-law. And I think we got some wings here. Heck yeah. Alright y'all. Got some wings. I don't even know what flavor they are. Thank you guys so much. That is awful nice of y'all. You didn't have to do that, but we sure do appreciate it. Hi folks, we are here in the Richmond Ortigas Hotel here in Manila, Philippines. So folks, first of all I want to start this video out by saying a big thank you and shout out to Paul and Abby. Thank you so much for the food that y'all sent last night and the gift bag. That was so very nice of you guys. Appreciate that very much, more than you know. The hotel, man, they started out good. You know, at first having some decent food here, and it's kind of hit and miss right now. So folks, and it's not just me, it's my Filipino wife is saying the same thing. Actually, I'm probably less picky than Christine is. I've been eating more of the hotel food than she has. So, but folks, don't worry about us, we're doing fine. We've been able to get on Food Panda or whatever that is, and order some food in, and even a little bit of liquor and some Red Horse beer. So folks, I'm doing real good. And since I've been drinking a little beer here, I'm going to address some things today that are probably going to keep me from getting monetized on this particular video. So I just want you guys to know that. You know, so just keep in mind, I want you watching this video because it's a good one. It'll be a good one for you to watch. I had several of my subscribers, several of my people that's commenting on these videos, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys that have expressed their desire for me to continue on with my rants. And so folks, we're going to have a little rant today, and just because I'm getting a little pissed off at what I'm seeing coming from the West, it really makes me angry. But folks, by doing this, we're going to cover topics like the pandemic and the U.S.'s response to it and all this kind of stuff. And more than likely, YouTube is going to make this video not fit for any kind of advertisement. So I don't know if they're going to take money away from me on the views of it. I really don't. I'm not sure how they do things in YouTube land when it comes down to some of this stuff. So if you guys will do me a big favor on this particular video, after you watch this video, just tune into some of my other videos that are not a rant, like the ones I did yesterday and the day before, and some of the ones in the past, and help me out a little bit on that. That's all I ask of you. Just help me out on the videos that they will monetize me on those particular videos, because I can almost guarantee you this one they're not. So folks, anyway, I did my shout out. Paul and Abigail, thank you so much. Let me see, where am I at here? So folks, we are on day number 5 of our quarantine here in the Manila, in the greater Manila area here in the Philippines. We're doing fine, y'all. our spirits are up really well. In 2 more days, on Monday, Philippine time, they're gonna, no, Tuesday, I'm sorry. Yeah, on Tuesday, in the Philippines, they're gonna come and do our COVID test. We're gonna get another one, and if we show negative on that one, then we'll be able to go on the 10th day and start traveling some more here in the Philippines and get down to Butuan, fly down to Butuan, and then go on to Lanuza, which will be more of a road trip. And those will be trips that'll be real entertaining for you guys to see, because we're going to be driving through the Philippine countryside down in the provinces, and it's not only beautiful, but it'll just be interesting for you. A lot better than sitting in front of this window here at the Richmond Ortigas and sitting here talking in this camera and y'all looking at my ugly face. So folks, I'm trying to change, I'm trying to give y'all a little bit more variety here on my show. And yesterday I did some where y'all didn't even see hardly any of me on it. And so I hope you appreciate some of that. And folks, every one of you guys who, whether it's on comments or off comments, whether it's on Facebook Messenger, I thank you for your input. I thank you for your comments. And shoot, I'll try anything once, to see how it works and see how you guys like it. Again, I'm not going to pigeonhole this channel into any one thing. That's just the way it is. This is just our lifestyle, and right now we're holed up in a hotel here in Manila, Philippines, enduring the 10-day quarantine, and it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is, and we're happy to be here. Again, you will not hear me complain on this channel about the Philippine government or anything that they're doing. I think they're doing the best with the information they have. Now, this is where I'm going to go into my rant, y'all. I am going to criticize the American government because I can do that. I'm an American citizen and I have my First Amendment right to freedom of speech. And so guess what? The only thing it's going to affect now is whether you guys tune into my YouTube channel or not. If I make you mad and you want to click on and go view something else, so be it. Some of you guys want this. Some of you guys have asked for me to do these, because that I now can speak freely. I'm not tied down to the police department where I've got to worry about, retribution from the police department or anything like that. And in all these past videos that I've done, and I've talked about, where the police in America don't have freedom of speech anymore. Well, this is part of it. And it's not just the police. It's a lot of you guys that are working in businesses where your view of things may be in contradiction to what your management believes. And if you go speaking freely on social media or something like that, it can be very detrimental to you too. And that's what I meant by a lot of us in America do not have the freedom of free speech anymore. Yeah, you can speak your mind and you can talk, but you may pay dearly for it nowadays, especially in the political climate in America, which is unheard of. That is absolutely unheard of. Used to, you could go and you could debate politics and you could speak your mind politically or whatever and not have to worry about losing your job over it or whatever the case is. That's the kind of deal with my brothers and sisters in law enforcement. These guys have been demonized by the freaking media. They have been demonized by certain members of the public and even political parties, and they have been unable to speak their mind and even contradict and tell the truth about what is going on in police work. They have been thwarted with that. If they speak their mind and they speak the truth, because the truth is contradictory to what all these parties who are wanting to demonize the police departments, if they contradict what they're putting out and their beliefs on it, then guess what? That police officer is going to be looking at a hard time. He's probably going to be looking at losing his job. And that's not the way it should be. Now, a lot of you other folks in other jobs, your job hasn't been demonized. Your job hasn't been attacked. You as a person have not been attacked. All of these law enforcement officers have been absolutely attacked, and which is wrong. And folks, I didn't really want to get into the whole police department deal of this right now. What I'm talking about right here is free speech. And I've had some of you guys on the comments tell me I need to keep these videos down to 15 minutes or less. Well, you know, I get it, and some of my videos are. But a lot of my videos are going to be as long as they need to be, especially when it comes down to a live stream or something like that. We'll keep a live stream going for a couple hours if we need to. If people want to talk, we're going to talk. So that's just the way it is. But folks, the main topic that I wanted to talk about today was this, is America's response to this whole deal and this whole sham of the whole pandemic. Folks, you know, I've been attacked so many times in my own private life before I was able to even talk about this stuff on YouTube. And I've even been attacked once by one guy in the comments on YouTube, and I definitely have on Facebook, about my views on this whole deal. Talking about, oh, well, here's another guy that doesn't believe in science and all that kind of stuff. He's out here, you know, touting his stuff or whatever. Well, folks, let's look at the science behind this. You know, I've already done one video talking about the whole hypocrisy of the CDC's own literature and their own postings about this whole pandemic and the whole virus and the effectiveness of the vaccines. It's such hypocrisy. Well, where this is coming from, folks, is I was talking to one of my friends who's still working on the job, and he was telling me that right there in good old Oklahoma, you know, the most conservative state in the union, they're talking about mask mandates and all this stuff all over again. Well, folks, this is the whole stupidity behind it all. You know, here in Southeast Asia, here in the Philippines, and whenever I boarded that plane, me and Christine and Mercelita boarded that plane in Los Angeles on Philippine Air, we had to not only wear a mask, and it couldn't be like a scarf like I had. I had one of those mission mask or whatever that I bought. They wouldn't even allow that. They provided me with a surgical mask, and they said, hey, you need to wear this. Those aren't allowed. And then we had to have shields. We had to wear shields on top of it. The entire 14-hour flight from Los Angeles to Manila. And we've had to wear shields all the way through the airport, into the hotel and all that kind of stuff. Well, folks, wearing a mask and a shield makes more sense to me than some of this BS going on in the States. So you're telling me, we've all known this, folks, and it doesn't take rocket science to figure out that these masks don't work. Whenever I was a young man, I did a lot of work in asbestos abatement. I worked for a couple of different countries doing this kind of work, or companies doing this kind of work down in Texas. And the first time I did it, the first year I did it, we wore these masks called, they were just filter masks. They had a filter on each side of it, nothing covering your eyes or anything like that. But we had to go through training where we had to, cover the filters on the mask, suck in, make sure that they were airtight and all that kind of stuff. And this is asbestos. This is something just as small, just as microscopic as any flu virus, okay? And so we had to wear these masks, and that's what we use to remove asbestos. Well, asbestos will legitimately kill you. You breathe in some of that, it gets trapped in your lungs. Your body starts attacking it. You get these white cells growing around this piece of metal that's in your lung. Next thing you know, you've got a tumor, and it's called asbestosis or mesothelioma, one of the two. So that's what we had to wear first. The next year I went and did asbestos abatement. We had to wear a full face mask that had a pump on the side of it with a hose that ran up, and it was called a PAPR mask. And we had to wear those, and we had to be certified in the wearing of these masks and all that kind of stuff. And we were like, man, what happened to last year's? I thought those were adequate. Well, they deemed over the next year that they weren't adequate. Well, I'm like, well, what the hell, man? And so I keep seeing these law firms, Sokoloff and Sokoloff, or whatever the case is. Now they're probably going to be the ones that sue me, talking about, if you were exposed to asbestos and blah, 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 you can have this settlement or whatever. Folks, thank goodness I've never had any problems with asbestosis or mesothelioma or anything like that. But my point of talking about this deal is anybody who has any kind of common sense, who works in the medical field, who works in any kind of professional training where you've had to wear a mask at any given time. When I was on the police department, we had to go through these, mask fit tests every year on these chemical masks that we had to wear. And, you had to get all these testings and everything done, and the fire department put them on and everything else. Well, this was just for simple things like smoke, tear gas, whatever the case is, or biohazards or whatever. Now, we've got the pandemic, the deadliest thing in the world, and they're telling us a piece of cloth over my face is adequate. That's how stupid it is. So even these surgical masks do not work. And I'll tell you why they don't work. It's because they're gapped on the sides. They're gapped on the sides and they're gapped around the nose. That's why when you wear your dadgum glasses, they fog up. Well, if your glasses are fogging up because you've got a surgical mask on, it's not doing its job. You're breathing in outside air. You're also blowing out your own breath and contaminating everything around you. So that ought to tell you something. Now let's switch on to the face coverings that everybody was saying, like the mission mask or whatever, or a scarf, or these homemade cotton masks that people make. They're not going to do the job. They're absolutely not going to do the job, and they never have done the job. That's why we are now on to variant Delta. Let's go on to variant Echo and variant Foxtrot and variant whatever, George. Holy crap, y'all. We could keep this going forever. And I'll tell you this, until the American public and Western public decides they've had enough of this BS, this is exactly what's going to keep going on. Because I'll tell you why. Big pharma, big hospitals, all these people are making so much money off this whole pandemic. You look at the money they make, and guess who's paying the bill for this? It's the American worker, the American taxpayer, because they're all making that money from the federal government. Every person that's diagnosed, that comes into a hospital that's diagnosed with, COVID-19, or that dies in a hospital that has COVID-19, or that ends up in a ICU that is diagnosed with COVID-19, they're getting major money over these things. Look at the pharmaceutical companies that are making the vaccines. They're making tons of money from the federal government. You think these dadgum companies are making this stuff for free? Go kid yourself some more. You know, I've got some dadgum beachfront property in Arizona for you. You know, I'll sell it to you. And, you know, use common sense, folks. Follow the money. If you want to see what's going on in America and Western culture, and you guys are the ones that started this crap. You started it to win an election. Okay, you won your election. Is winning the election not good enough for you? Now you're just plumb greedy. Now you're plumb greedy. And you got to have all this money from the American taxpayers, and you're even paying people not to work. You know, and to me, all these masks that you're wearing and all this BS that you're wearing, they don't do anything to stop the spread of any kind of flu virus, which all COVID-19 is. It's just another flu virus. You know, and people want to talk to me, oh, it's a killer. It's a killer. Well, you know what? My grandmother died of the common flu back in the day. She died of the common flu because she had some pre-existing health conditions. And I'll tell you the story behind my grandmother. My grandmother, she ended up getting the flu. Well, and you know, God rest her soul, she was a little bit of a hypochondriac. So she started drinking a ton of water to try to, you know, stay hydrated during her bout with the flu. Well, my grandmother had heart disease. She had diabetes. She, you know, had all kinds of pre-existing conditions. Well, she ended up drinking so much water that she depleted all the electrolytes in her system and started cramping up. And she started hurting so bad, my grandfather took her to the hospital. Well, in the hospital, they finally got her shot back up with electrolytes and got her feeling better and all that kind of stuff where she wasn't cramping. Well, after that, the nurse came in one night and, you know, listened to her lungs. And the nurse was like, hey, you know, it sounds like she might be getting a little fluid on her lungs. You might want to, you know, notify the doctor that, you know, of what's going on so he can check her out a little better. So whenever the doc came in to do his rounds, my grandfather, he told the doctor, hey, this is what the nurse said and all that. Well, the doctor listened to her lungs and said, oh, she's fine. Well, within 8 hours, probably less than that, she was in intensive care with double pneumonia because this doctor didn't do his job. And so anyway, she had double pneumonia. She's in intensive care. I think they ended up putting her on an intubator and all that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? She ends up dying of a heart attack because she could not, her heart could not take the stress on her body. This was and all she caught originally was the common flu. So what was the original, what was her cause of death? Was it the flu? Was it the common flu? Or was it heart disease? Well, it was a combination, but I would have to say it would be the heart disease because it could have been anything that caused her heart to stress. Okay, so we could sit here and go, what if it had been a different scenario? What if she was just out working in the garden and picking vegetables out of the garden and she dropped dead of a heart attack? Well, are you going to say, you know, what killed her? Oh, it was picking vegetables. Oh, by God, folks, we cannot pick vegetables no more. It kills so many thousands of people every year because they're out there picking vegetables and they drop dead of a heart attack. No, it's heart disease that kills you. The same thing with my dad. My dad died when he was 69 years old. He had already had a triple bypass. He had already had a stent put in. He had had several minor heart attacks. Well, he'd been out cutting a tree down in his yard all day long in the heat of the day, working hard. He was enjoying his time, though, and that's where I'm glad he died the way he did. But he was out there working hard with his hands, you know, and I've got his chainsaw now here in the Philippines. It's in Lanuza where we're headed. But so what are you going to say killed my dad? Was it heart disease, or was it the act of cutting down this tree? Oh, guys, no, we're going to have to prohibit cutting down trees now, running a chainsaw, because cutting down trees and running a chainsaw kills so many men every year. You know, that's what I'm saying, guys. We got to start using some common sense. So this is another thing that I'm going to go on about this rant. Here I am in Southeast Asia, and now I can start speaking because I'm experiencing this and I'm seeing this firsthand. You know, before I was just hearing about it. Now I see it. And I see it on the news, and I see it everywhere else. All you greedy suckers over there in the United States that are making a big deal, and all you news outlets that are making all this, your counts on the Delta variant and all this different, whatever your ulterior nasty little game that you're playing to try to get more money out of the American government, well, guess what? It's affecting people in a real way here. Because people in Southeast Asia, they don't have a nest egg. They don't have government handouts. They don't have all this kind of stuff that they can live on. And they've been locked down, and they've been incapable of doing their jobs. And their jobs have been taken away because of the lack of tourism and everything else that has been affected by this whole pandemic. They have lost their way of making a living here. And these people live day by day. So what I mean by that is they work today for the food they're going to buy tomorrow at the market. Think about that. They don't get no government handout here. These people are happy to go to work. A lot of these OFWs can't even go because they're restricted in their travel. And what I mean by OFWs, they're overseas Philippine workers. They can't go. A lot of them are stuck overseas. They can't even come back and see their wife or their kids or their husband or their kids because of all this nasty freaking game that everybody's wanting to play. And I'm not going to fault any of the governments over here in Southeast Asia. They're doing what they think is best for their citizens. I think that the deal is they're watching CNN, they're watching they're watching Western media. They're following CDC, which is we've shown the hypocrisy is going on in CDC and the World Health Organization and all that. They're all such hypocrites, it's unbelievable. And so they're watching these things, and then they're making policies on their people to follow suit. Well, what they don't understand is how things work in the Western world. You know, you think governments are corrupt in Southeast Asia or in Central America or South America. Shoot, America has mastered, being corrupt. The American government has mastered that. And so, there's always money in the ball game with that whole deal. And it's usually taxpayers' money. So folks, I want you to think about this. All this mess going on. Use your freaking common sense if there's any left in America. Use a little bit of common sense and think about what's going on. You want to sit here and criticize me and not say, oh, well, you think you're better than these scientific experts. Well, I want you to look back and just in the last year and a half and look at the hypocrisy that has gone on in the science of it. And then try to judge me. I'm just looking at things from a redneck, common sense sort of view. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm trying to do. And so judge me how you want. Think what you want to think. But when you do it, look at it with an open mind. Look at it and don't be scared. And that's the problem is the American economy has been fueled by fear for so long now, and now this is the ultimate fear factor that they have done, and it's not ending. They keep going on and they keep going on, and the reason they keep going on is because it works. It makes them money, and it keeps all you people squashed down. It keeps our federal government maintaining, driving up the debt, more and more and more. And you people want to sit there and talk about, you know, China and every other country that's wanting to come in into America and own property there and all that stuff. Well, we're just making it more and more happen. You know, that's all we're doing. So as long as you people want to sit there and criticize, rednecks like me for, you know, not believing and having a little bit of questions about the science of it, don't talk to me about science. Half the stuff there is a theory. You know, that's all it is a theory, and it's a mess. All right, folks, you guys wanted a rant, you got a rant today. I got a little red horse going on here today. I'm stuck in quarantine. Again, I'm not going to sit here and gripe about being in quarantine. I'm going to follow the rules here just because that's the rules here in the Philippines and I'm a guest in this country. But I will talk about the issues going on in my own country. I'm an American citizen, and yeah, the only thing that's going to affect me now is whether you guys want to watch my channel or not. And whether or not I might get some ad money off of it or whatever from YouTube. But, you know, my loyal fans, you guys want this rant. You guys enjoy these things. Watch my other videos because I can promise you I'm not going to make any money off this one. So anyway, folks, I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I thank all you guys for subscribing to my channel who came over from Mark's channel. Every Man Has a Story. I thank all you guys for listening to the sound of my voice, for just listening to me rant on, and I appreciate all your suggestions. All right, folks, I'm going to call this one a day. This is the end of day 5 of quarantine, and stay tuned for day 6, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.